Story 1. When my grandma passed away, she left me her house. It was old, creaky, and full of things from a time long gone. She used to talk about the attic a lot. She'd say, "I hear footsteps up there at night," or "Something's living in the attic, I just know it." I always thought it was her imagination. I moved in because I didn't have much money. The first few days were quiet. A little too quiet. The air in the house felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. One night, around 2 in the morning, I heard something above my room. It sounded like someone walking slowly. I froze in bed, staring at the ceiling. The sound was steady, not random like pipes or wind. I grabbed a flashlight and walked to the attic stairs. Each step creaked under my weight. The door at the top was closed, but not locked. I opened it slowly. The air smelled musty and cold. I looked around, just boxes, old furniture, broken lamps, and piles of newspapers. Nothing strange. But then I saw a boot print in the dust. A clear, fresh print. It wasn't mine. I hadn't walked over there. I followed the prints. They led to a wooden panel in the wall. It was slightly open, like a door to a crawl space. I leaned closer. The air coming out was cold and smelled like dirt. I shut the panel quickly and backed away. I ran down the stairs and locked the attic door. Now, even though it's been months, I still hear footsteps at night. Always at the same time. I keep the attic door locked, but part of me knows it doesn't matter. Something is up there. And it knows I know. Story 2. My parents have this really old mirror in the hallway. It's tall and has a thick wooden frame with little flowers carved into the edges. The glass is foggy and a little cracked. It always gave me weird feelings growing up, but I never said anything. One night, there was a storm. Heavy rain. Thunder shaking the house. The power went out, so I lit a candle and started walking to the kitchen. As I passed the mirror, I glanced at it like I always do. But something wasn't right. My reflection wasn't moving the same way I was. I tilted my head. It didn't move. I raised my hand, nothing. I smiled nervously, and that's when it smiled back. But it wasn't my smile. It was wider, sharper, wrong. I stepped back, almost dropping the candle. The shadows danced across the hallway walls. My heart was pounding. I couldn't look away. My reflection stood there, staring at me, its smile slowly fading. Then it blinked. But I didn't. I screamed and ran into my room, slamming the door behind me. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning, I covered the mirror with an old sheet. Now it just sits there, hidden. But sometimes, when I pass it, I feel something behind the cloth. Like it's waiting. And one day, I think it might come out. Story 3. My aunt asked me to watch her house for a week while she was out of town. I agreed. It was a quiet place in a quiet neighborhood, and I thought it would be easy. The guest room where I stayed had a big closet. The kind with 2 sliding doors and no light inside. Even with the room lights on, the closet always looked dark. I didn't like it, but I ignored the feeling. On the 3rd night, I was lying in bed, scrolling on my phone, when I heard breathing. It was slow and deep, inhale, exhale, over and over again. At first, I thought it was me. But I held my breath, and the sound kept going. I sat up, my heart thudded in my chest. The sound was coming from the closet. I turned on the lamp and stared at the doors. I didn't move for a long time. Then I slowly got out of bed and opened one of the sliding doors, and nothing. Clothes, boxes, and dust. I opened the other side, still nothing. But the breathing stopped the second I opened it. I barely slept. The next morning, I checked the closet again. On the inside of the door, in the layer of dust, I saw 4 long finger marks, like someone had dragged their hand across it from the inside. I packed my stuff and left that day. I told my aunt I got called into work. She said she always had trouble sleeping in that room too. Story 4. I moved into a small apartment building last year. The unit next to mine was supposed to be empty, but a guy moved in a few weeks after I did. I only saw him once. He was tall, wore glasses, and gave a little nod before walking into his place. After that, I started hearing noises at night. Loud thumps and dragging sounds. Sometimes it sounded like someone was walking back and forth for hours, always between 2 and 4 in the morning. I thought maybe he worked night shifts or was moving furniture. But it happened every single night. I knocked a few times to say hi or ask if everything was okay, but no one ever answered. One day, I told the landlord. He looked surprised. "That apartment's been empty for months," he said. "The last guy disappeared without a trace." I laughed nervously and told him someone was living there. He didn't believe me. So we went up together. He unlocked the door. The apartment was covered in dust. Furniture was still there, covered with sheets. Spider webs in the corner, windows dirty, but then I saw something weird. On the table was a mug of coffee. It wasn't dusty, it was full and warm. The landlord didn't have an answer. We both stood there, staring at it. That night, the noises stopped. I haven't heard them since. But now, sometimes, I wake up at 2 a.m. with the feeling that someone is standing outside my door. Story 5. I was about 7 when it happened. I had a favorite stuffed bear that I always slept with. One night, as I was getting into bed, the bear fell onto the floor and rolled under the bed. I didn't want to reach under there. I hated the space under the bed. It felt too dark, too empty, but also like something was in there. Still, I needed my bear. So I knelt beside the bed and leaned down to grab it. That's when I heard it. A whisper. A dry, scratchy voice. "Don't look down here." I froze. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I pulled back slowly and ran out of the room. I screamed for my parents. My dad checked the whole room and looked under the bed. They told me it was a dream. Maybe a nightmare, but I know what I heard. For years after that, I never let my legs hang off the side of the bed. I always jumped into bed from the middle of the room. Even now, as an adult, I can't sleep with the closet door open, and I never look under the bed at night. Because I'm scared that one night the whisper will come back. And this time, it won't just warn me. Sick of being the